So now that I've configured switch S1, I'm going to quickly configure switch S2 and switch S3 so that we can get to step 3. I'll open up switch S2. Notice all of the native VLAN mismatch output errors that are being caused by having changed that native VLAN. All right, I'll type enable conft hostname S2, and now I'll just run through those commands rather quickly. Okay, now I've configured the 2 gigabit switch ports as trunks. And now I need to configure the access port that connects out to PC2. You can see here it's on switch port 10 that connects to S2 here to PC2. So switch port 10. So that's what we're going to configure. And it's the yellow VLAN, which is VLAN 25 research. It's the research VLAN coded yellow. So that turns switch port 10 into an access switch port on VLAN 25. Now I need to shut down all of my other switch ports. So I'll do interface F0/1 to 9, comma F0/11 to 24, and I need to put in the range command here for this to work. And that puts me in interface range configuration mode. All right, now I can just type shut down. That shuts down all of my unused switch ports. You can see the native VLAN mismatch that's now existing between switch 2, S2, this one, and switch 3, which we haven't configured yet. Before I move on, I'm going to exit, go into my virtual interface for management, and set up the IP address. And that's it for switch 2. So now to configure switch S3. I'll open up the switch. I'm not going to worry about the native VLAN mismatch outputs, and quickly run through the commands. And now to configure the access ports, let's take a quick look. You can see here on S3 that we're going to configure switch port 5 to be in this orange VLAN, which is the management VLAN at VLAN 88. So let's do that one first, and that's switch port 5. And now for the other two switch ports, if we look here, we can see this is fast Ethernet 0/2, and right above it, you can see that's 0/1. Those are both going to be in this blue VLAN, or the server's VLAN, that's VLAN 35. All right, so let's do that. And now we need to shut down all of our unused switch ports. Now let's configure our switched virtual interface, our interface VLAN 88. And that should be all of the configurations for the switches. We'll take a quick look here. We set up the VLANs, the host names, the trunks, the switch ports. We shut down the unused switch ports, set up our management VLAN, and set up the default gateway. So now we can move on to step 3, which is configuring the router interfaces. Now that we've set up the switches, these 3 switches right here, we need to connect these switches to these routers R1 and R3, so we need to configure R1 and R3 and R2 with interface IP addresses, bring up our interfaces, and for R1 and R3 we're going to need sub-interfaces configured with 802.1q protocol on the interfaces so that we can connect to the trunks and use VLAN tagging.